A man that walks with God cannot die like an ordinary person.
History does not often announce the birth of its prophets. They arrive quietly, in villages without names, in seasons when the world is too distracted to notice a flame. But when they depart, the silence they leave behind is louder than the noise of their age. One of such men was Dr. Uma Ukpai. Born in the colonial twilight of Nigeria's story, January 7, 1945, in Asaga, Ohafia, Abia State. He left behind a legacy traced across continents, but more than legacy, a question: what does it cost to be tested? He lived not for applause, nor for earthly acclaim, but for a calling that reached beyond life itself. In Asaga, Ohafia, he grew among clay walls and palm trees, learning early that life is fragile, faith precarious. At age 10, his father died. That loss carved in him a sympathy for broken homes and an urgency to reach out. In the late 1950s, while Nigeria edged toward independence, Uma began a spiritual quest. He fasted, he withdrew in prayer, and asked questions that many feared. In 1958, he accepted Christ, a turning point that marked his life's direction. One day, during a 7-day fast, in his mid-teens, a stranger confronted him. "You will be a preacher. You will have 8 children, but 2 will die in a motor accident. You will build schools and cross all continents." To a boy who had walked only between field and forest, it sounded like a dream, but prophecy waits until men align with promise. The 1970s and 1980s were decades of change in Nigeria. Civil war memories, oil boom and busts, new political experiments. In those years, Uma Ukpai's ministry matured. He preached in small venues, borrowed halls, and open fields. He earned certificates and degrees abroad in the United Kingdom, the School of Journalism and Television, Frisham Hermitage, and in the United States of America, South Florida Christian College, Carolina Christian University, and Burke Bible College, etc. But along with growth came trials. In 1982, while preparing for the Greater Ibadan for Christ crusade, God spoke, "You will be seen everywhere. I will assign 100 angels to follow you because you have handled the case well." That same era brought one of his greatest tests. One fateful morning, his printing press was raided by armed robbers. They stripped his office of all equipment, but before despair could settle, the Spirit urged forgiveness. He told his team, "Do not recover what was stolen, leave it as a gift." Soon after, tragedy struck with even greater force. His children, riding ahead, plunged into a river. He dove into the current to rescue them, but an oncoming vehicle ran into them and killed 2 of his children. As he was still in the middle of the situation, he was told that the bus carrying his members had caught fire and had lost some of the members. He said, "If pain does not drive you away from God, it drives you deeper into Him." By 1985, the ministry surged. In May 1985, his Greater Lagos for Christ crusade led to the founding of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN. His voice echoed beyond Nigeria's shores. In 1986, he was among the select Nigerians invited to pray for United States President Ronald Reagan. The years that followed saw expansion, construction of hospitals, initiation of educational institutions, building infrastructure projects such as roads and streetlights in his native region. He believed faith must labor in service. He once declared publicly, Christianity without social responsibility is a contradiction. He funded hospitals, sponsored students, and established ministries of compassion. Even as his influence grew, he remained the same man who could weep in prayer, still trembling before God, still recognizing that every gift was a stewardship. As he aged into the new millennium, his message deepened. He thought with clarity, the paradox of suffering, that God's silence can produce faith, that loss can birth legacy. He spoke of God not as the one who prevents storms, but the one who carries us through them. He reminded his listeners, faith is not proven in answered prayers, but in unshaken trust when prayer seems unanswered. He mentored ministries across Africa and beyond, instilling in them not only oratory skill, but a backbone of endurance. During this period, he also oversaw the growth of his educational and medical projects, the establishment of King of Kings Hospital, and other outreach institutions. Even as he neared his 8th decade, he traveled, preached, counseled, and wrote. His voice remained firm. On the 6th of October 2025, the voice that had shaken continents, a general, was called home. Dr. Uma Ukpai was gone. At 80 years old, the barefoot boy who once prayed in the bush had walked his final mile on earth. The news spread like a slow wave through the body of Christ, in churches, homes, amongst leaders and fathers across Nigeria and beyond. Men and women not only merely mourned, but gave thanks for a man who lived what he preached. He did not chase titles, though they found him. He did not seek fame, though nations invited him. He was not trying to be great. He was simply trying to be faithful. And that is what made him great.